Welcome, guys, to another episode of Live with Dell Anthony. It's yours truly, coming back with another hot take. It's been a little while, had some things I had to do, but now here we are in that GOAT conversation. Who is the GOAT in the NBA? For you to discuss that, I think it has to be 5 people definitely in the conversation. One is Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and the captain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So let's get into it, fellas and fellettes. Without you guys, there's no me. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, put your comments below. But now we're going to go greatest of all time. I have my pick. I will tell you why the only reason this other player is picked. But let's get into it. Points, we don't need to go there. That would be LeBron. Titles, we don't need to go there, because that would be Bill Russell. MVPs, we don't have to go there, because that'll be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Do you know Kareem Abdul-Jabbar even had more assists than Michael Jordan, and he was a center? Wilt Chamberlain. The reason why people don't put Wilt Chamberlain in this conversation is because they feel he was so much bigger than everybody. You can say that with anything you do. Okay, he was bigger than everybody. Kareem played with other all-stars. Russell had the better team in the era where the Celtics dominated because they had the best of everything. LeBron played where the league wasn't as tough and as physical. But what we're forgetting, when we try to make Michael Jordan the greatest ever, he played in an era where he was the most athletic person in the sport. He played in an era where it was unheard of to be a 6'6" guard that could jump and hang. If you look at the bodies of those guys that played back then, those guys had, as we would call them, poom shorts, and built more frailer than Jimmy Walker of good times. But those are the guys Michael Jordan went against, so he was more athletic than those guys. Then you'll get the people that'll say Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron James couldn't have made it in certain eras. Do you know who LeBron James would be if he was back in the 80s or 90s where they were tougher? LeBron James would have been Karl Malone on steroids that run faster and jump higher and more explosive. Karl Malone was the second leading scorer of all time until LeBron passed him. Which means back then, because he had a better jump shot than Malone, he shot threes better than Malone and was faster than Malone and jumped higher than Malone, that he would have been a monster there. Then they say, well, LeBron didn't have that killer instinct. Don't you think the veterans that would have been on his team would have pulled him under their wings and made him tougher? And because the teams would have been constructed better of having a complete team, he might have gotten more championships. And you guys are acting like it's a big discrepancy. The only big discrepancy is Russell, because he has 11. But Michael has 6. Kareem has 6. And LeBron has 4. Now, the reason why Jordan, before we even get into Jordan, let's just talk the guys I just said. Wilt and Russell. You can't take away what those men done. And I hear what Barkley said. Barkley said, well, you can't match eras. You have to say who's the best of their generation. The reason that's ridiculous, because you could take Barry Sanders and Bo Jackson and put them where Jim Brown was, and they would be dominant running backs there too. You could take Jim Brown, put him in today's NFL the way he was, and he would be dominant too. You could put LeBron James in any era. If he was in the 60s, 70s, or 80s, he would have been unstoppable. Even if you say, oh, the league was tougher, his teammates would have made him tough. Let's not forget, Derek Harper and John Starks wasn't known for being tough until they played with the Knicks. Then they became tough. So somebody can inherit a toughness. Isaiah Thomas was a nice guy who used to kiss Magic Johnson. You didn't realize he was from that Chicago area tough guy until he got with Lambert and Mahorn and Rodman and Edwards and Dumas. Then he was like, even though he was there first, I don't mean that he wasn't there. I meant that they brought out his toughness. So if you put LeBron on the Cleveland Cavaliers, where there's the Doherty and the John L. Williams and those guys, the Sellers, he might have became tough too. Or if you put him on the Laker team, he would have been tough too. So you gotta, let's stop talking about eras, because obviously if LeBron played in every era, he would dominate. People keep talking about rules changing so they can't respect LeBron. Are we forgetting rules changed for Michael Jordan? We used to have the hand check rule and the Jordan rules and the making him bite his tongue and giving Scottie Pippen a migraine. And the rules change because offense is what people want to see. Excitement is what people want to see. Also, let's not forget marketing strategy. We will get into that a little later when I give you the only reason why this particular person would be considered the GOAT. So now we're going to talk about pressure. Do you know the pressure it is to be seen as a high school kid, that you're called the chosen one? We've seen that before. The name was Felipe Lopez. He fizzled under the pressure. He got drafted by Vancouver and fizzled. Okay, let's not forget that. He was the so-called, in my day, the chosen one. Felipe Lopez went to St. John's and he fizzled. Stephon Marbury, the king of Coney Island, even though they say his brother was better, but he was the kind of like the chosen one too. He had a decent NBA career, but he got into a lot of stuff with teammates and off and on the court and all this other stuff. Now we get to LeBron James, because we don't need to get into stats, because we know he had more assists than Jordan, had more rebounds than Jordan, had more points than everybody on that list. Jordan has more steals than him, but we're talking about a guard having only 336 more steals than a forward/power forward. If we take it to the playground, everybody talk about the NBA, how they did this new playground drafting. If you walked into the playground and LeBron James walked in and Michael Jordan walked in, you're going to draft LeBron James first, because he's 6'9", faster, can do everything, play defense and everything. Now, after you pick LeBron in the park, then you would grab Jordan. How do you know that's true, guys? Because wasn't Sam Bowie drafted over Michael Jordan? So let's not act dumb when it comes to history. You know why they harp so much on championships? They harp on championships because that's the only way to make Jordan still relevant in a discussion. But whoa. Can't do that, because then Russell would be the greatest ever to play. Then we got to look into Robert Horry. Okay? So we're not going to get into stats, because I can name stats. Trust me, guys, I got all 5 individual stats of everybody. And LeBron James only trails the big men for rebounding and Jordan for steals. But overall, as my beloved and belated brother Kip would say, overall, you're right, he don't have everything. But overall, he has everything. You could line him up with everybody, line him up. And he was the chosen one since 15, 16 years old. And look at his career. Isn't part of a dependability and ability just as important as being a GOAT? 20 years and he's averaging over 30 points. Don't tell me the league is watered down. The league has changed and he's evolved his game. Oh, he wasn't a winner. He has 4 championships. The logo has someone who's only was 1-9 in the finals, and he's the logo. I think that's an injustice. I think Jordan should be the logo. But West is the logo, and he's 1-9. LeBron went to 10 straight finals. It's like lotto. You got to be in it to win it, and he was in it. Patrick Ewing only been to 2 and only was able to play in 1. For all the guys you say is great, LeBron was single-handedly it was LeBron. Now these are NBA players, guys, so please don't take this offensively. But LeBron James took a bag of Doritos, a bag of Lay's, juicy fruit, and an hour later to the finals. Those names are bigger than the names he had on his team, so that's why I named those guys. To say he took anybody. He got swept, but he still took them. Now we're going to get into systems. Everywhere LeBron went after he left, the system went down and the team didn't win. But he won. He was the system. He was the system. He didn't have a great great college coach because he didn't go to college. So where Michael Jordan and these other guys got to learn the game from guys that can give... Michael Jordan even says he credits Dean Smith for teaching him how to score 40 in the game. LeBron didn't have that. So he went right in from high school, carried the franchise on his back. He did leave, but he took him to a finals, came back and said, "This is for you, Cleveland." Won, the greatest comeback in history, going against arguably the greatest put together and shooting team ever assembled. And then he went to the Lakers. Bubble or not, everybody plays, everybody's professional. I don't want to hear that stuff about bubble championship. When you have a job, you're a professional. You're a professional when you have a job. And they won. So he got championships with 3 different teams, was the MVP, and if he leaves the Lakers, they're not winning anything because that organization doesn't know what they're doing. Dr. Buss would be spinning over in his grave. So let's get to those 5 people I named, and now let's talk about why, if he was to name a GOAT, it has to be LeBron James. He's over Michael Jordan in any important statistic except for steals. He's even over him in championships as far as appearances, not as wins, because that's the only way Michael Jordan stays in this conversation, and that's what people want to use. The reason why championship became a big deal, because that's the only way to make Michael Jordan stay relevant as far as LeBron goes. So they moved the goalposts. How are you going to say a guy is not the greatest when he's considered not a killer as far as sports goes? Because I don't want to use words out of context and people flip out. So he's not a killer as far as scoring. He's not someone that wants to take the last shot, as we hear from everybody. But he's the all-time leading scorer. Think about that for a minute, because I'm going to tell you right now, if Michael Jordan would have passed that record, he would be the greatest all-time hands down. But because LeBron broke it, the record is not relevant. He is the all-time leading scorer, top 5 and top 10 in the 3 major categories, which is assists, points, and rebounds. And if he's not there in rebounds in the top 10, he's close to it. So now, we're going to talk about the relevancy of why LeBron is the GOAT, in my opinion. Let's think about systems. Sorry, little tongue-tied because I'm excited about this topic. But systems. Everywhere LeBron James went, he was the system. After he left, there's no more system. Michael Jordan was in the triangle offense. Am I correct, guys? Let's be honest here. Because some of you might have cut off the channel because I'm talking about your Jordan, but Jordan was in the triangle offense, wasn't he? Michael Jordan has 6 championships, right? The triangle offense have 11. The triangle offense have 11. So was it Michael Jordan or the system? I'll wait. I don't want to wait now. Now I want to talk. 11 championships. 5 without Michael Jordan. 5. When LeBron left Cleveland, they fell off. He went to Miami, they won. He left there, they fell off. He went to Cleveland again, won again. They're okay now, but they fell off as far as championship. Went to LA, LA won. Didn't LeBron face Miami in the championship? and they beat him in the bubble. When Michael Jordan left the Bulls, he did have 2 three-peats. I mean, so I give him credit for that. But when he went to the Wizards, did they even make the playoffs? And he was a lot younger than what LeBron is now. So again, triangle offense, 11 championships. Phil Jackson and Tex Winters ran the triangle offense. Michael Jordan has 6. So does that make Michael Jordan more important to the triangle or less important? Because then we seen Michael Jordan again. His name was Kobe Bryant. He has 5 championships. Would have 6 if he, as he said, if Shaq wasn't lazy or a lot of turmoils happened in Colorado and they didn't break up that dynasty. But Kobe has 5. So we seen Michael Jordan, a 6'6", 6'7" guy that could play defense, play offense, take over, killer mentality. We have not seen enough of LeBron. We are not going to see enough of LeBron. We need to appreciate LeBron. And the reason America don't like LeBron, because he's the first one that gave the power to the athletes by saying, you sign the contract you want to sign, you could demand to leave when you want. And LeBron did it all the right way. That announcement he made about going to Miami and people knocked him for it, his representative put him up to do that, to make it a big deal thing. He didn't do that. Business people was behind him, and then because he got hit for doing it, everybody want to sit back and let him take the fall. But instead of him throwing people under the bus for doing it, he said, okay, I did that. Never in trouble, family man, great by his kids, step out on the front line. That's what the 2 other guys, the Kareem and Russell and LeBron, have in common. Jordan was worried about his image. He was worried about his image. Like he said, Republicans buy sneakers too. Now I'm sure he probably didn't say it in the content it was released, but he still said it. He still decided not to touch issues because, like Barkley said, we're not role models. Parents are. When you're making millions of dollars in a world that's, say, 85% don't have the money you have, you are looked up to in a certain way because you've done something to have a lifestyle on TV. Can't have it both ways. Can't want people to love you and then get upset because there's a responsibility that comes with it. It's going to come with that because everything is television. So if you're watching television or his story, you take the good with the bad. So once again, the system, 11 championships, 6 for you. 4 championships with 10 appearances, I think 8 in a row, and I'm the system. GOAT to me. Now, to sum it all up, the conversation would be mostly LeBron against Kareem. 6 finals, MVPs in the final. I think he got 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them, and 6 championships. The most historic career from high school, college, and the pros. The all-time leading scorer until my GOAT came along. So if it's not LeBron, it has to be Kareem. But now I'm going to do you one better. You're going to say, oh, he had Magic, he had Worthy, he had whatever. Okay, all right. This is the only reason why you can call Michael Jordan the GOAT. It's the same reason why in music you will call Michael Jackson the GOAT. The same reason if you look at the WWF / because the Wildlife Now, WWE, Hulk Hogan is considered the greatest wrestler, even though the Rock career was better, even though Ric Flair career was better. If you go to, like I said about music, you had the Spinners, the Four Tops, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. The reason you will call Michael Jordan the greatest, if you did, is because what he did for the sport. At the MTV era, remember I just named Michael Jackson, and Hulk Hogan. You could throw Michael Jordan in there because they was around that 1980s, mid-80s MTV era and aura where you got Mars Blackman's Gotta Be the Shoes, you have Hulk Hogan in the cartoons, and you have Michael Jackson's Thriller, Off the Wall, and Beat It, and, all that. So they took music to another level. Michael Jackson took music and music videos to a new height. They brought people started being aware of pop and R&B because of Michael Jackson. People started loving basketball and taking it off a tape delay because of Michael Jordan. And wrestling, people tuned in because of how Hulk Hogan took over. And saying that, that's the reason why you have to call Michael Jordan the greatest. Because of what he did for basketball. Thank you. Put your comments below, like, subscribe. Without you, there's no me. Thank you.